ready. We have to have the money. We have to know what that information means, and we have to be able to move like greased lightning. But boy, when it works, it is beautiful.
I don't see how you do it.
Machines! Machines, Gloucester! I have got a whole room full of machines back here. You want to see them? Come here.
Oh, Henry, no.
Come on, take a look. I got a whole suite full of mainframe computers. Oh, they are so beautiful.
No, Henry!
Oh, you've got a minute. Come on, Gloucester. Listen to him hum.
Henry, don't try Mr. Hemming's patience.
You sure? Well, okay then.
It was all scripted. It was all planned out. It was all plotted out. And that's how easy you get suckered in on cons or scams. Here's Bernie Madoff's Ponzi scheme returns versus the S&P. He promised a 12% a year annualized return. If the market went up, you got 12%. If the market went down, you got 12%. And when people asked him, how do you do it? He wouldn't explain. He says, we have a proprietary system. We just know how to do it. And people invested anyway. And the blue line is the S&P 500. So you can see they were making returns no matter what, according to Madoff's Ponzi scheme.
You know, in today's regulatory environment, it's virtually impossible to violate rules when this is something that the public really doesn't understand. And if you read things in the newspaper and you see somebody, violate a rule, you say, well, they're always doing this. But it's impossible for you to for a violation to go undetected. Certainly not for a considerable period of time. And when you consider the volumes of trading, the trillions of dollars of trading that go on, our firm, for example, alone, we trade in excess of $1 trillion a year. So, and that's one firm. So when you look at the scope of the trading that goes on today on Wall Street, and you look at what we would consider to be the infractions, they're relatively small. Primarily because, of all the regulation. And most firms do try to comply with that. So we determined that the best thing for us to do was basically to take the human being out of the equation. And that had two advantages in our industry. Number one, when you take the human being out of the equation, you solve your regulatory problems. Because the nature of any human being, certainly anyone on Wall Street, is, the better deal you give the customer, the worse deal it is for you, because you're on the other side of the transaction. It's like going into any store. The store sells you television at a higher price, they're going to make more money. They sell you the lower price, their profit, goes down accordingly. So as honest as you can find, you try and get people to be. There's this normal, natural pull, that you have to deal with. So by taking the human being out of the equation to a great extent and turning it over to a computer to make the decision, I guess you could also program the computer to violate the regulation. But we haven't gotten there yet.
I got a whole room of machines right back here. Oh, they're beautiful. You ought to hear them humming. You see the parallels? You see how he sucked people in? Oh, we could never scam you. We could never steal from you. We're doing it all with machines. And that lying SOB took billions from hardworking people just like you all, and it's gone. Ruined hundreds and hundreds of lives. People committed suicide over it. They had no more money. They committed suicide. That is the face of evil incarnate right there. Evil. He's a sociopath. Take a good look at evil. You see him on the street, you wouldn't think about it. So, just some gray-haired old guy. But that is evil right there staring back at you. So they did an interview with Madoff. He said he felt trapped into the con by other people. That's the typical behavior of a sociopath. It's always somebody else's fault. He always thought he'd be able to get himself out of it. He said his investors were sophisticated people and should have known better. People ask me all the time how I did it. I refused to tell them, and they still invested. Just like I said, people asked, well, how are you making 12% return? He says, well, when the market goes up, we make money. When the market goes down, we make money. But he never explained it, and people still invested their life savings, millions and millions of dollars. One factor that allowed the Ponzi scheme to continue for so many years, he said, was that he had a lot of credibility in the industry. He had been on the board of the SEC, talking about the fox in the hen house. He knew how to perpetuate that fraud. Persisted so long because auditors didn't verify his firm's assets at a depository trust. And I'm going to show you a little bit later how he was able to get away with that. He's in jail, and inmates and prison guards are still asking him for investment advice. They know he's a con, and they're still asking him. In fact, prisoners wanted him to teach a course on investing. What in the world is wrong with people? I like this quote from Will Rogers. I'm more concerned with the return of my money than the return on my money. So, rule number two, many money managers are gamblers and speculators. We've talked about that before, speculating and gambling with your money, stock picking, market timing, track record investing. And there are many money managers that are doing that to this day. 80% of mutual funds are actively managed. And I just read a study about 2 weeks ago, and it was saying that for the period from 2000 to 2014, the end of 2014, out of all the different mutual funds that are out there, only two money managers were able to beat the S&P. Let that sink in.
Why don't I just do what that guy did? I'll take this $100, turn it into $5,000, and then I'll turn that into enough money to get my movie going again. Good luck. Chandler, I don't need luck. I have thought this through. That JD 100? JD 100. Good luck, sir. That's right. Routine. Hit me. Oh, man.
So you can see, idiots can be conned and scammed and think they can beat the system, and smart people can be conned and scammed and think they can beat the system. You can't. There's all kinds of different investment things out there that can take your money away. Partnerships, different guarantee things, bankruptcy things, friendships. Academic evidence has shown, and we've talked about it before at our coaching, that stock picking, market timing, and track record investing just do not work. The evidence is overwhelming, but yet people still try and do it. And it goes back to just human nature, fear, and greed. Doesn't stop people from trying. At the end of 2008, there were $18.9 trillion in total mutual fund assets. 2013, that number stood at $30 trillion, including a $2.8 trillion in inflows. So let's look at how the average investor did. So the performance from 2009 to 2013, the all global mutual fund investor on the top line had a total return over that 4-year period, 38%. So his $100,000 would have grown to $138,000. If they had just had a diversified 50-50 moderate portfolio, 50% in equities, 50% in fixed income, they would have almost doubled at 67%. If they just had owned the S&P 500, 128%. U.S. small value, 176%. Micro caps, 227%. International large, 86%. Large value, 105. As you can see, if you just had a diversified portfolio, you would have done better than the average mutual fund investor. So, rule 3, diversifying managers can increase your risk. A lesson from Wall Street: don't put all your eggs in one basket, i.e. a Bernie Madoff. Diversification is important in reducing the risk of your portfolio, and this kind of proves it out. This is the graph of the CRSP Value Weighted Index, which means CRSP is CRSP, which stands for Center for Research of Stock Prices. And so then you have the simulated portfolios. The line going up on the side is your standard deviation, and the line going out is the number of holdings that you have, or number of stocks that you may have. And so you can see it starts getting towards the mean or the weighted average the more diversified you are. And it lessens your risk. And that's why we have such a diversified portfolio. But as we've talked about before, a study shows that 1 in 10 people who work on Wall Street is a sociopath. 1 in 10. So, if you have one money manager, you got a 10% chance of getting a sociopath. 2, 19. 3, a 27%. 4, 5, 6. You're almost at 50% if you have 6 different money managers, or if you have 6 different mutual fund in your portfolio. 7, 8, 9, 10. 65% chance one of them is going to be a sociopath. 22, if you have 22, 90% chance one of your investment managers is a sociopath. Now, how many people, the average, have the number of mutual funds they have in the portfolio? What would you say the average is? Anybody have an idea? By show of hands, somebody give me an idea what they think the average person has as far as number of mutual funds in their portfolio. Larry says 10. Anybody else? 5? I'd
say 27.
27? Answer is actually 6. So you got almost a 50-50 chance that one of your money managers is a sociopath. I don't like those odds. So Mark Twain, put all your eggs in one basket, then watch that basket. The Wall Street sociopath can't do anything without your permission. You have the control. You have the power.
The importance of this treaty transcends numbers. We have listened to the wisdom of an old Russian maxim. Though my pronunciation may give you difficulty, the maxim is doviai no proviai. Trust but verify.
Ma per distribuire il
You repeat that at every meeting.
I like it. Yeah, I like it too. So that was the Gipper. So when it comes to your money, let's switch it around a little bit. Why don't we verify, then trust? And I'm going to now talk a little bit about Matson Money and how they go about doing this, and the 3 ways that you can verify, verify, verify. And we're going to make you all geniuses. Intellectuals solve problems, geniuses prevent them. So we're going to make you all geniuses tonight. You choose one manager, know how to verify them, then trust them. And there's 3 ways to verify. 1, verify custody. Who actually holds the money? You do it with third-party statements. How many of you get tired of getting those darn Schwab statements every single month? You know, you're just tired of, that's your third-party verification right there. Here's Bernie Madoff's statement. Looks legit. You know, he's got some Walmart dividends, he got some Fidelity Spartan